We got something kind of interesting to talk about here, Matt. We've been living through some really dark times. I think not just this past couple years, not just since October 7th. I mean, honestly, since 2020, personally and also politically, the left has been in the darkness and has had some very, very difficult kind of growing pains. But in the past few weeks, it seems like things might be moving in the right direction. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about what's happening in New York. But earlier this month, Zara Sultana announced that she would be leaving the Labour Party in the United Kingdom to co found, along with Jeremy Corbyn, a new party of the left. And the need for this kind of alternative could not be greater. I just want to remind people who haven't been following UK politics because, we've talked about a decent amount on this show when it was relevant. But for the most part, especially since Starmer came into power, it has been, the wilderness years for the left. Since Starmer has come into power, he's purged much of the left from the party. More than 300,000 people are believed to have left the Labour Party, especially after Jeremy Corbyn's whip was removed by Keir Starmer. I mean, a truly disgusting episode. We've talked a lot on this program. I especially suggest people listen to the conversation we had with Daniel Finn on, I believe, TMBS even, when a lot of this stuff was really ramping up. We had an in-depth conversation on all the disgusting attacks against Jeremy Corbyn, a man who spent his entire life fighting against bigotry and genocide and war, and was just slandered in a disgusting way in by the Labour Party and by many members of the media.
I mean, in an incredible foreshadowing to what would happen post October 7th,
100%.
right? And I would recommend people. Al Jazeera did a great multi-part documentary series on this a couple of years ago called "The Labor Files." Episode one is called, as David said, "The Purge," and this was over the question of what is anti-Semitism, who's responsive to it, who is deaf to it, who is claiming that people are unresponsive to it for cynical reasons. And you see what you get. You get Keir Starmer's Labour Party is a direct product of a successful purge of anybody who would stand up for Palestine. And this Ilan Pappé's most recent book is lobbying for Israel on both sides of the Atlantic. I think something like that, and it goes into how sort of direct the lobbying efforts are on behalf of support of Israel, and how also indirect, just supporting conservatives or corporate leaders, whether it's in labor or in America, that are willing to play ball when push comes to shove or bomb comes to civilian in the Middle East.
No, I mean, it is one of those things that it is a kind of political test for how much evil and horror you're willing to stand as a politician. And Israel has always been one of those things where it has been used not only obviously to protect the genocidal regime there, but also has been used to kind of push back against anybody who might have the courage to kind of stand up against entrenched forces. And that's how it's been used in American and British politics for a very, very long time. And there really is no better example of just the dead end of that kind of politics than Keir Starmer's Labour Party. As we just were talking about, he continued to drive this witch hunt against like pro-humanity, pro-human rights, pro-Palestinian voices in and around the Labour Party. He replaced the grassroots of the party with this business-friendly monstrosity. And since he has become the prime minister, he's been on a quest to cut benefits for the poor and disabled. Recently he faced a rebellion over his push to cut payments to disabled people in the United Kingdom, showing just how dissatisfied even members of the own Labour Party are with him, and how committed he is to waging a class war from above. So it's very exciting to see this. And let's pull up this, these kind of early days thing. You can zoom in a little bit here. We have some of the early polling here, and this is before the party has really been announced in full. If you go to the next one, we have it zoomed in here. But the Corbyn Sultana party could draw support as high as the Labour Party. And if you can see here, the
Next
Labour
one.
Party is
Oh, sorry.
the Labor Party is polling around 15%, right next to this new potential party. So already here, we're seeing that it's competitive, and it's on the next one, Matt, that it's zoomed in on. But
Oh yeah, and
yeah.
it's called again like you wouldn't think the Corbyn Sultana Party would be the final name for the new party.
No, exactly. I mean, this is a party that hasn't, done any kind of like real outreach or anything like that. It's really just an idea, and it shows how hungry people are for significant change. And I'm just going to play this really quick, this video here for us, because actually, Matt, if you could play that Corbyn talking about his position on, because there have been some kind of questions about how serious and connected Corbyn will be to it.
The Independent Alliance Group of MPs are very keen to ensure there is a new alternative party developed, which will be to the left, which will be for peace, will be for justice, and will be for social inclusion and economic equality in our society.
So that's Corbyn, saying that he's excited to be a part of this this new movement, and already we are seeing and hearing a chorus that Corbyn's party and this joint movement is a threat, as it will split the vote and will allow Nigel Farage's far right party to come into power. My only statement to that is yes. Mr. Starmer and the right wingers in the Labour Party, you must stand down to prevent such an outcome. Now, it's not all roses. There's going to be many questions for the left to figure out. In the past few years, many on the left have gravitated towards the Greens, seeing that the Green Party, seeing that as the viable vehicle for the left in the United Kingdom. The announcement itself seems to have already created some confusion with Sultana announcing the new party, but in a way that seemed to be kind of early, jumping the gun. Was it strategic, trying to coax out a hesitant Jeremy Corbyn into action? Was it born from disorganization and confusion? We don't know the full story yet, but as of now, it is clear that the excitement points to a real need for an alternative. Unite the union there, and has already sort of made some inroads and sort of pointing and hinting that maybe they will be a part of the project or at least support it. And the real question is, will this be an organization that's able to unite labor and the left in the United Kingdom, or will it be another vehicle of the kind of upper middle class politics that have dominated on a lot of left-wing projects in recent years? Here's hoping that this sort of opens up a new door and a new chapter in politics.
Yeah, and it's a bit rich of the Labour Party to say, hey, you're splitting us when you are the ones that are holding the cleaver. This energy was all inside your party, and you pursued witch hunts. And meanwhile, you look on the other side of things, UKIP is no longer, and Reform has sort of taken its place. And that kind of shows, like, in at least a parliamentary system, that can be done. Mm-hmm. And where are the Tories at? I didn't even notice them on this poll.
They're
back up to 17%.
So
right, but they're getting trounced by Reform.
Well, exactly, because there's a hunger, just like there's in this country, for a different kind of politics. I mean, people are exhausted with both the Tories and the Labour Party after years and years and years of devastation and lies. So there's definitely an opportunity, and it just sort of shows that I think this is a moment where kind of being bold and pushing back against the naysayers seems to be the correct strategy, as we're seeing with this potential situation in the United Kingdom, and also obviously with what happened in New York with Zoran, who again ran as a Democrat, but that was a campaign where a lot of people, particularly on the left, when it was a smaller conversation, there was a lot of people who said, oh, this might be a waste of resources, this might not be a good movement to grow like the DSA and these kind of political organizations. Well, those positions were proven incorrect, and I think that this is a moment where a little bit of boldness goes a long way.